Hey everybody, it's Greg Sharp with another episode of Inside Arm Wrestling. We are going to look at East versus West number 12 in this episode. So let's head over to the social media pages and really take a look and see what Engen and East versus West is bringing to the table. So, in our first match, in our highlight match, and honestly, folks, it's an interesting match for many, many reasons. Obviously, Devon, he's looking to beat Levan. You've got two of the premier arm wrestlers in the world right now. I kind of said Devon like Levan. I apologize, it's Devon and Levan. I kind of get the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllables sometimes. But you've got Devon Larratt and you've got Levan Shagansavelli, who is maybe arguably the strongest arm wrestler that has ever arm wrestled. Some of the feats of strength that we've seen him do over the last couple of weeks are just ginormous, if ginormous is a word. Astronomical, just huge, huge lifts. But that is really the highlight of the East versus West 12. And folks, I want to kind of say that it's an interesting timeline for this event. The biggest really arm wrestling event there is in terms of a super match series. And the very biggest, the largest one match that there can be, that really everybody in the arm wrestling world is going to watch, is going to happen on April 12th. And in a way, though, it's a weird dynamic because win or lose, Devon win, Levan win, there's very few matches that after this match is going to rise up to be a level of interest on a world stage, a super match stage as this one. So to be so early in the season for East versus West 12, it really is a dynamic that I just kind of question whether or not it would have been better suited being later in the season to build up some more emphasis on there. I don't know that there's another match that has any more interest in the world or would have any more interest in the world at this point in time besides this one, Devon versus Levan. Certainly there's a lot of social media rolling up to it. Certainly there's a lot of quipping going on between, Devon on his pages, Levan on his pages, Engen stirring the pot a little bit. Certainly Core Sports is looking to capitalize on this event. You can go to Core Sports where you can purchase the pay-per-view as always. But this will be in Istanbul, Turkey. And it is the final match of the night. Now, I do have the match lineup, which I want to kind of go over. And I want to go over two different matches, actually a third match in here as well, that I see that was added, but I don't see any flyers. But we'll go to that match first. I've seen the Michael Todd versus Frank Lamparelli match. I haven't seen a flyer for that, so I'm not sure, folks, if we're actually going to see Michael back on the table. I know that from social media, he's been working very hard to get to the table. It's certainly a place where he feels he needs to be again. Frank certainly showed Matt Mask that he is still relevant in the world of arm wrestling when he beat Matt on the East versus West, I think it was 10. So, interesting match, but I don't see any social media behind it, folks. So, to me, I'm not quite sure that match is going to happen. So, we're going to leave that match as is. Love to see Michael there. Super great guy. And I'd love to see him back on the table. But there is two matches in here that I think are really worth taking a look at. One on a popularity end and one on a personal end. The popularity end match would be Schoolboy versus Leonidas Arcona. How to say Schoolboy's name? It's Alexander Baziaskov. At least I think I pronounced it well. Schoolboy, if I didn't hit it right, I apologize. You are a beast. You've been a phenom for almost a decade as an arm wrestler. But I think this match is interesting, and for two reasons. Leonidas has been successful against Larry Wheels. Obviously, he's a yoked, a jacked bodybuilder slash powerlifter slash arm wrestler. He has a social media following. He definitely likes to key in on social media athletes, and maybe even in one of the Logan Paul or Jake Paul type mentalities. He is going after more social media personalities. I don't believe that Schoolboy is a good matchup for him. I think Schoolboy has a lot more table acumen, is extremely strong. He's a tall arm wrestler. He has competed on the world stage. He is accomplished. I don't know if Leonidas does have enough in the tank of Schoolboy. And again, I think that Schoolboy's really what I'll call genetics or physical makeup doesn't bode well for Leonidas. Schoolboy is a fairly tall arm wrestler. I think he's somewhere in the 6'4", 6'5" range. And he goes to a very heavy 280, 285 these days. So that elbow to fingertip ratio is very big. Leonidas, and looking at him against Larry Wheels, Larry Wheels is not a 6'4" plus guy. At least when I've stood next to Larry, Larry is a few inches shorter than me. Leonidas looks to be shorter than him on the table. So I think in terms of proportionality, Schoolboy probably has the advantage. In terms of table acumen, table time, table maturity, Schoolboy has the advantage. I think the physicality of the two men, obviously Leonidas as a physical specimen, as a bodybuilder, as a powerlifter, is looking more impressive than Schoolboy. But I've seen Schoolboy do crazy strong things as well. I'm not sure there's any strength differential that goes in the way of Leonidas. I honestly see this match going 6-0 if it goes 6 full rounds, or 4-0 if he decides only to pull 4 of the 6. I don't think that Leonidas will get a win on Schoolboy. That is my prediction. I'm always up to be wrong, but I just don't think that the check marks in the boxes go any other way other than Schoolboy. I think he's going to have his way with him. The other match that's really a fun match for me, and only because I'm a big supporter of American arm wrestlers and North American arm wrestlers, I certainly want to continue to support the guys around that have supported all of the organizational things that I do. But Brandon El Celso originally was going to arm wrestle Anson Liliev, and Anson has fallen out. I don't know if he fell out because of medical reasons. I don't know if he fell out because of personal reasons. But Brandon now is going to arm wrestle Stoyan Olmanov. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm cheering for Brandon. Brandon is a super powerful young man. He is, as I pull up his page on social media, he is from Lyons, New York. Obviously, being from New York, I lived not only on Long Island, I lived in Ithaca, New York, and then I lived in Syracuse, New York. Lyons is certainly in the upstate Rochester area. He is an iron worker. You got to like guys that just work with their hands. They're hardworking guys. They're jobbers. You have to like a guy like that. But the one thing that I think is kind of interesting as you kind of look at some of the statistics around Brandon, and one of the statistics that I think really kind of shines for me, folks, is Brandon's only 33 years old. And why that matters, and I did a little bit of research on Stoyan. At 33 years old, if you take this back 10 years on YouTube, Stoyan's got videos of being an arm wrestler from 2013 and earlier. If you've looked at some of his arm wrestling videos, he's arm wrestled Hermes. He's arm wrestled Constantine. He's arm wrestled a very large, well-established group of world stage arm wrestlers. Now, in the one video on YouTube when he's arm wrestling Hermes, Hermes looks like he's probably, I don't know, 25 years old. He looks like a very, very young man. He's probably 70 pounds lighter than he is now. So, a different Hermes at the time versus Stoyan. Stallion seemingly looks like he was in his mid-30s at that time, which means that Stallion's probably in his mid-40s to late 40s, I'm guessing, maybe even 50s. I haven't been able to really find any information on him. But at 33 years old, Stoan has been arm wrestling maybe for 2/3 of Brandon's lifespan, which doesn't mean that Brandon isn't going to win. And certainly I am absolutely pulling for Brandon. I would love to see him win. All I see from the young man is just positivity. And when you have somebody out there like that, it's hard not to get behind. But one of the things that I find sometimes when we go overseas is that sometimes the stage is a little bit skewed so that the hometown team has a little bit of hometown favoritism. I'm not saying that that's actually true. I'm just saying that that's the perception. And I think that Stoyan going in to this match is going to be maybe the puller of favorite because of his experience on the table. He is going to travel a lesser distance than Brandon. Brandon's going to have to travel for the first time to Turkey, at least to arm wrestle from what I could see. It kind of makes a weird dynamic when it's your first time. You're going overseas. He may be on weight. He may not be on weight. He's going to go on a long, extended airline. You know, you're going up into a pressurized cabin. There's a lot of factors. Don't know if he travels well on airplanes. He might be a nervous guy. Maybe there's a lot of turbulence. There's lots of reasons that make traveling a disadvantage when it comes to competing. And so he's going to go into a country where he's maybe not very familiar with. He's going to try to assimilate into the cultural bubble, if you will, of the arm wrestling area. With Engen has done very well to help support. But he's going to find certainly food to be different, time zones to be different. He's going to have some fatiguing from the travel. He's got a lot of things up against him. So, and now he's against an opponent that is a very, very, very well-established arm wrestler. Someone who's been pulling the 220-ish to 230-pound, 100-kilogram weight class for a very long time. Someone who's very comfortable in multiple styles, very comfortable in European pulling and European referees, and just really the European stage. So I want to say that I'm going to give the nod to Brandon on this one because, again, my loyalty to arm wrestlers from North America, from the U.S. is there. But this is a really big change of athlete for Brandon. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think it was a change that works well for him. He is definitely going to be up against it. But here's the thing that I hope for Brandon. Win, lose, or draw, I hope that he has the ability to be invited back a second and third time to represent the U.S. for the simple reason that sometimes that first pancake when you never made pancakes before is the worst one. It comes out, it separates, the mixture isn't right, you know, and then you go back and make that second and third pancake, and all of a sudden you're a pancake expert. I think arm wrestling has a similarity to it when you're traveling, especially overseas. I'm hoping that he does well, but I also know that with all of these variables, he's going to need to make a lot of mental notes and be able to come back after this, make some adjustments if he wasn't successful. Again, hoping he is, but make a lot of adjustments so that the next time he comes over, he could take out a lot of those variables that will work against him naturally, besides the variables that may be needed to overcome on the arm wrestling table. So, Brandon, I'm wishing you a great level of success out there. And as I look at that card, there are a lot of great matches out there. But, folks, I think that for the most part, many of these matches are more prevalent or relevant to the European stage than they are to the domestic U.S. North American stage. And therefore, when we look at a lot of these matches, the ones that I really want to see are the ones that I highlighted, and certainly the ones that I'm going to want to watch. And I always encourage you to go out and take advantage of the pay-per-view, support arm wrestling, just like Locked and Loaded. Make sure that you're watching it for the 58th time. I don't care how many times. But go out and support. It's there. There's an opportunity for you to really get involved. And listen, it's exciting. Some of these guys are hugely strong. And when you get to the level of these guys, they need your support, certainly on all levels. Encourage them to do well. Get behind Brandon. Show them if you're from the U.S. that you're behind them. Get behind Michael Todd. Get behind Schoolboy or Leonidas, whoever you want to go for. Flip a coin on Devon or Levan, whichever way you want to go. I don't think that anybody loses with this match. It's certainly a super exciting one, and we're hoping to see that it goes to a final match, and that's what really highlights it, that these two athletes compete neck and neck, and that final match determines who that winner is. So, having said all that, guys, this has been another great episode of Inside Arm Wrestling. Look for us here in the future on the Inside Arm Wrestling stage. This has been Greg Sharp telling you to have a great day, have a great week, and make sure that you're training hard, lifting smart, and being as successful as you can be on the table, especially when it comes to being inside arm wrestling. Folks, if you like these stories and you want to see more, please hit the like button and subscribe to our page. Also hit the notification bell underneath the video so that way you're notified every time a new video comes out. And if you're on social media, specifically Instagram, go to the World Series of Arm Wrestling Instagram page. Please follow it. We'll try to follow you back, but it'll keep you up to date with all of the news and events in the world of arm wrestling.